Good morning, friends. It's February 1, 2024. We made it through the first month of 24. And now we're on number 2. Man, I'm feeling good this morning. It's nice and brisk out here. I feel like I got a good word for you. So I read Matthew chapter 8 this morning, and in the very beginning of the chapter we see two people who come to Jesus. The first is a leper, and a man with leprosy comes to Jesus and he asks Jesus to heal him, but he doesn't just say, "Hey, can you please heal me?" He says, "Lord, if it be your will, I know you will heal me. I know you can heal me." So he doesn't just come and say, "Hey, can you make me whole again?" He comes to Jesus and he says, "If it's your will, I know you can do this." Jesus heals him and sends him on his way. And then a centurion, who was a Roman, who was considered a Gentile to the Jews, comes to Jesus and says, "Jesus, I have a servant who's really sick. I need you to heal him." And Jesus says, "Okay, I'll come do it." But the centurion knows about Jewish law and Jewish tradition, and he says to Jesus, "Don't even come into my house, because I'm not worthy that you would come into my house." And he says that because according to Jewish law, if a Jew went into a Gentile's house, he was considered ritually unclean. And so he says, "Don't come into my house, just say the word, and I know my servant will be healed." And Jesus marvels at this, and he says, "I have not seen faith like this in all of Israel." That this man has the greatest faith that I've seen in Israel. Two things. Both of those men were stepping out in faith with their requests. Particularly the leper, the man with leprosy, because basically back in those days, leprosy wasn't curable. If you had leprosy, you basically were dead. It was just going to take 20 to 30 years for the leprosy to kill you. And Jews were supposed to stay away from people with leprosy. So if you had leprosy, it was basically that you were considered dead and sucks to suck. Go live in a cave for the rest of your life. And so for this man who has leprosy, knows what everybody thinks about him in the sense of he's basically dead, steps out massively in faith to ask Jesus to heal him. No guarantee, no promise that he was going to say yes. I mean, he possibly could have been stoned to death if Jesus said no and everybody saw what was going on. So he basically was like, "I got nothing to lose. I'm already considered dead. I'm going to step out in faith." And received healing in that. Same with the Roman. He totally stepped out in faith, knowing that Jesus couldn't come into his house, but stepped out in faith anyway. And so, as we go into the second month of the year, ask yourself, am I stepping out in faith? Because just like the man with leprosy, he says, "If it be your will, you will heal me." But he had to step out in faith first before Jesus was going to heal him. So, are you stepping out in faith and asking Jesus, when you step out in faith, if it be your will, you will make this happen? Whether that be stepping out in faith to start a business, stepping out in faith to start your fitness journey, stepping out in faith to find another job or find a job or get a promotion, or whatever it is that you're stepping out in faith for. That looks different for all of us. And I'm preaching to myself here just as much as I'm talking to you who's watching this. But are you stepping out in faith with that mindset of, "Lord, if it be your will, you will make this happen"? Because if it be his will, I'm about to get run over. If it be his will, He will make it happen. And nobody can beat God. So if it is His will for your life that X happens, and you step out in faith with that mentality, who's going to come against you? Philippians 4:13, pretty sure it's 4:13, says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It doesn't say, I can do some things, or I can do this and that, but not other things. It says all things through Christ. So, are you stepping out in faith with the mindset of, Lord, if it be your will, I know you will make this successful. God bless you.